everyone, Andrew
Mrs. Cutter.
here bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing the DC original animated film Green Lantern First Flight. We both saw the video together and we both have our opinions set for this video review, but before we actually get into the review itself, Mrs. Cutter, wouldn't you have something to say real quickly? Loudly.
I would. I just wanted to let you guys know that when I reply to some of your comments with my little swirly Mrs. Cutter, that's actually me responding. It's not Andrew posing as me. So it's genuine.
Yeah, there you go. So we watched Green Lantern First Flight. We actually bought it on demand because I'm a cheap bastard and I don't want to pay the full $12 for the cheapest version. Actually, the only way I would be able to get the DVD is if I conned Jay into buying it, and if I did that, he would want to watch it and you wouldn't be able to, so, yeah. Real quickly, before we actually get into the movie, out of the DC animated films, I've seen every single one except for the Superman Doomsday. I've seen Wonder Woman, Batman, Justice League New Frontier, now the Green Lantern one. The only one you've seen outside of this is the Batman one, and you were mess on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway. So, basically, Green Lantern First Flight, the basic plot is, well, it's the origin story for Hal, with a lot of twists and turns and some, touch-ups here and there. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the comics. No film is going to be that, so don't expect it to be like that. And the great thing about this film is it starts off right away with Hal becoming the Green Lantern. First, 5 minutes, he's regular Hal Jordan, and then he becomes the Green Lantern. The plot of the story is basically he joins the Corps under the guidance of Sinestro, his teacher, and eventually he finds out there's a big conspiracy going on against the Guardians with Sinestro at the core of this conspiracy. Now, if you're any Green Lantern fan, you already know that in the comics, Sinestro turns bad, gets his yellow energy ring, goes against the Guardians, and eventually, up till now, has created the Sinestro Corps. Obviously, things are done differently in this video. However, I don't want to reveal the whole entire plot to you. Neither of us do. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go over, we're going to talk about the plot, how we felt about the plot, each of us. Talk about the characters, how we felt about the characters. Talk about the story, talk about all the other shit that may come up. This may be a fairly quick review because we don't have too much to say on it, either of us. So, last time in the Twilight review, you started off by saying your opinions on the plot, setting, and characters. I'll start things off first. And then at the end, we'll just talk about the stuff that pointed out to us, that kind of came out to us right away that we liked about the film, and what we didn't like, and whether or not you should watch it, and, the genuine stuff. So let's start things off with the plot. Personally, I thought the plot was okay. It felt like a standard Green Lantern origin story. Obviously, there was stuff tweaked here and there. It's not going to be like Emerald Dawn or Secret Origin, but I mean, Abby Thor falling to Earth, Hal getting the ring, Sinestro turning bad. How it's done is a little differently, but it's still done. So, the plot really didn't have too much to it outside of what, a Green Lantern fan would expect. So I wasn't too surprised with what I saw, except for one person betraying Hal Jordan. That's about it. But yeah, there was no real surprise to the plot to me. Now, you haven't read any Green Lantern stuff. The only thing you've been exposed to is Batman, Superman, and Supergirl, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your opinion on the plot coming from it from a non-Green Lantern fan and not really knowing anything about Green Lantern?
I don't have very much to compare the plot to because I haven't seen any other Green Lantern stories. But, I mean, I thought the plot was okay because it gave me an introduction to Green Lantern. I really don't have much more to say about it because I can't compare it to anything else, but it worked for me.
Okay. Did you like the plot at all?
I like that it reminds me of Star Wars.
Star Wars? So, did you have... Now, this is a question I want to pose too. Did you feel like the Green Lantern movie was a superhero movie, or do you feel as though it was more of something different, like a space movie or something like that?
I didn't really get a superhero vibe from it. I thought it was more of a good versus evil. type of story.
And were you okay with it not having that superhero vibe?
Yes, I was.
Oh, yes, you was. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the characters next. I forget who played each character. The only real characters that we're going to talk about is Sinestro, Hal, Kilowog, the Guardians, and that's about it. That's only the real major characters. A lot of other Green Lanterns show up in this. Actually, if you can name a Green Lantern, they probably were in this movie. A lot of the major ones were, at least. So let's talk about the star of the show first, Hal Jordan. Let's start with my opinion. I think they did a pretty good job with Hal Jordan. He felt pretty spot on. Was as good as David Boreanaz' portrayal of Hal Jordan in New Frontier? I don't think so, but I think they did a fairly good job. I got a Hal Jordan feel from it. There was nothing unique about the performance other than the chemistry that he had with Sinestro, which was very nice, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I thought Hal Jordan was pretty good, and it felt true to Hal Jordan. What do you think, my love?
I don't have any previous performances of his to compare this animated one to.
Listen, in the
compared him to.
Well, yeah, but that's the only
David
comparison
Boreanaz.
because he only showed up once in the animated in Justice League, and he said like 2 words, so you don't have to worry. There's really nothing to compare him to, unless you compare Super Friends, but who cares? I'm sorry.
Okay, so apparently I was on the right track. I didn't really get into his character all that much. I mean, the gist of it was that he was an Earth boy, inexperienced, and all of a sudden he was brought into this other planet altogether and kind of had to deal with these new powers that he was given. So his character was pretty basic to me, and it was okay, but it wasn't one of my favorite ones.
So nothing stood out to you?
Nope.
Well, let's talk about Sinestro. If you don't know who Sinestro is, I'll give you a quick summary. In the comics, Sinestro is the greatest Green Lantern at the time, turned bad, and creates his own evil Sinestro Corps. Something similar happens in this, although the Sinestro Corps don't show up. Although I don't know why it would, because Sinestro Corps show up later in the comics. Wow, I'm rambling on. Personally, I thought Sinestro was the best performance in the whole entire movie. Although the art for Sinestro, they made him very beefy and jacked, and Sinestro is kind of a skinny cut character in the comics, it didn't bother me that much. I thought the portrayal of Sinestro was the best. It really showed the gray area of Sinestro, because a lot of people think Sinestro is a bad guy, and I don't think he's necessarily evil. I think he is a bad guy, but I don't think he's evil. He wants to get rid of chaos, and he wants order. The means he does it by is bad. He is a bad person, but I don't think he's evil. And I think that was portrayed very well in this. So Sinestro was very nice, and the chemistry between him and Hal was very good. I liked that a lot. What do you think about Sinestro?
I think Sinestro was definitely more of an intriguing character than Hal Jordan was. He's the one that brought the evil versus good aspect to the movie. He reminded me of Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. The way he was kind of fooling Hal Jordan, because Hal Jordan believed that he had good intentions, but secretly I kind of felt he had more bad intentions than good. So I guess it was nice to have more of a balance between good and evil with the two of them. So it was nice. He made more of an appearance than Hal Jordan. I guess it was good to bring some evil to the movie.
Cool. Okay, next would be Kilowog. Do you remember him? He was the kind of pig-looking thing?
Yep.
Okay. Kilowog, I'm a little impartial on it. Again, I've read the comics, so I have something to base off. The voice is really what bothered me. That, and he was scrawnier than what Kilowog usually is, but he was funny, and he made me chuckle a few times, so I was okay with Kilowog. What about you?
I don't really have an opinion on him, except, once again, he reminded me of something from Star Wars, so that was okay by me. I don't have a name of someone specific, but they were all kind of off-looking, like some of the things from the older, from the older Star Wars.
I thought you were talking personality-wise on myself. Really?
No.
Okay, and last would be the Guardians. The Guardians came off a little differently than what I suspected them to. I always suspected the Guardians were portrayed in this movie as the all-powerful, all-seeing. These guys were portrayed as bickering old men. And it was quite entertaining and quite funny, and despite the fact that it was portrayed like that, I enjoyed it because it was funny. What is it? What did Sinestro say to them when he turned evil?
Yeah, he called them bickering old biddies.
They were like little Smurfs. They were cute. I mean, the Guardians are always like Smurfs, but they were a little bit all-knowing in the comics. In this, they were just kind of like funny, and I'm okay with that change. You?
Yeah, the Guardians added comic relief to the movie. My first impression when I saw them was they looked like elderly Smurfs to me. That's what I called them. Because they're blue and they got a little bit of white going on in their wardrobe. And they're older looking, so they reminded me of aged Smurfs. Yeah, they were funny, and they actually, in a way, they were supposed to be all wise. So they did resemble Yoda in a way, like you said.
I guess so, yeah, they did. Okay, so let's get on to the actual, we'll talk about how we felt about the story, the action, which it is a comic book film, so we should talk about the action, then we'll just kind of wrap it up, okay? So, how about you talk about story? Did you like the story? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was complex? What did you like?
I didn't think the story was complex. I thought it was pretty basic. He was given a ring, and then he all of a sudden had these powers. He didn't quite know how to deal with them. It didn't really strike me as different from other comic stories or hero stories. I didn't really see a whole lot of originality to it.
Okay. Personally, like I said, I've read Green Lantern stuff. Things were tweaked here and there, so the story wasn't too impressive. The only problem I have with it is just it has nothing that makes it stand out. It just feels like Green Lantern. I wish they did something to mix it up. But it was okay. It's what I expected. Action. Did you like the action and the art in this? Do action first. Did you like the action in this?
I don't remember a whole lot of action other than the scenes where the yellow light was brought in and that killed off some of the members of the Green Lantern League. But I don't remember.
Core.
I don't remember a whole lot of action scenes. So.
The action was okay. With the Green Lantern film, I expected a little bit more construct, like the stuff he makes from the ring. It entertained me. Did I think it was impressive? Meh. But it was okay. So, it doesn't get a check minus, it doesn't get a check plus, just gets that check. The art, did you like the art design?
The art was better in some parts than others. There were actually a few scenes where I saw it, and for a second it looked pretty realistic. It didn't look like just a drawing, but I wasn't blown away by the art in it.
I like the art. I like the new design they gave to Hal's suit. It looks a little Jon Stewart-ish. The only problem I had with the art is everyone wore basically the same suit, with the exception of maybe like 5 Green Lantern people. But the art was okay. I think it was well done, and I think it set the tone for the film. So let's just wrap this up. Good, bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. What did you like about it?
The balance between good and evil in the movie I liked. I liked the comic relief provided by the Guardians. Am I going right into bad?
No, just do good. Just do good.
Okay, we'll stop there with the good.
Oh, wow. Good. I think they stayed pretty loyal to the characters. I'm not opposed to them trying new things with characters. A lot of people get pissed off if characters are done differently than what they are in the comics. It wouldn't have bothered me, but they stayed pretty loyal to what the characters were and how they should be portrayed. The art was nice and the action was pretty nice, and the Guardians did make me chuckle. There was some language in the film, and I don't know if I would put that in good. They said like hell and crap and shit and stuff like that a lot. But this is more of a teen film than a children's film, so this is geared towards hardcore comic fans. Like someone's neck got snapped. Like in the Wonder Woman film, someone's neck got snapped. You remember when the guy's neck got snapped? Yeah. So. Those are the good for me. So what's the bad for you?
The bad for me is going to be what you mentioned in your good. I didn't like the language in the movie. I was kind of taken back by that. And also, there wasn't a whole lot of violence, but there was a little bit. I was kind of under the impression before I saw this that this would also be geared towards kids as well as teens, but based on the language and some of the violence, I wouldn't recommend kids watch this.
See, I did not think it was geared towards kids. After seeing New Frontier and Wonder Woman, I mean, Wonder Woman, she snapped the guy's neck, and in New Frontier, Hal Jordan blasted a Japanese guy's head off. So, these are geared towards more adults. But bad for me, the only bad I could really say is it just didn't feel original. It felt, see, with the Wonder Woman film, it was an origin story, but it felt more like Amazon Attack than Gods and Mortals. This felt like Emerald Dawn, just different. It had nothing that stood out that made it impressive to me. So that's the only bad I could really say, but it's a pretty big bad. So yeah, would you recommend this to people?
Here's a flash. I'd recommend this to other people who are not informed on the Green Lantern story, such as myself. If you don't know anything about it and you want to get a little background on Hal Jordan's story, I would watch this, but I mean, if you're a fan and you've seen other stuff or read other stuff, then I don't think it's really necessary to see this.
So you think this is a good, that's interesting, so you think this is a good gateway drug for non-Green Lantern fans.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy the Green Lantern?
I didn't hate it. Hate him.
Hate him? Because this is her first exposure to Green Lantern. I always say the Green Lantern motto, and she always gives me a look. She never understood anything about Green Lantern before this.
I'm glad I saw it.
You were, really? Oh, okay, wow. You surprised me. Personally for me, out of the DC animated films, I mean, I can't vouch for Superman because I haven't seen Superman Doomsday yet. And that's next on my list. Seeing it's getting lower in price, I might actually pick it up. But I think this is actually the weakest of the films, the DC. Out of Gotham Knights, Wonder Woman, Frontier, and I can't say anything about Superman. I feel this is the weakest of the films just because there's nothing like makes it stand out. That doesn't mean it's bad. If I had to give it a solid rating, I would give it a B. And that's pretty generous. I mean, the action and the dialogue and the chemistry made up for a lot of things, but the story was just a little lacking. I did like how they did start things right away and they just threw them into space. No dilly-daddling on Earth. That was nice. So on the whole, I give it a solid B, maybe B minus to B. It was okay. What do you give it for a letter grade?
Probably a B minus.
Yeah. So, Green Lantern First Light, I suggest picking up on demand or con one of your friends into getting it. It's a good gateway drug for non-Green Lantern fans, but for Green Lantern fans, I think hardcore Green Lantern fans will like it the most. I'm not necessarily hardcore, I'm a big fan. Green Lantern's like my 5th favorite superhero, but it was okay. Nothing special. So with that said, as always, ask us questions and we'll be glad to answer them. We got a few questions already asked. We might do a question and answer session sometime soon, so please pose your questions. They can be about anything. We can do anything. So, although the comic book stuff, she may not be able to answer that well.
I'm not as well informed on that.
No. I mean, she's read comics, but give the comic stuff to me and I'll do my own question and answer.
Comics is his passion.
Yeah.
Celebrity and entertainment stuff is more of mine.
Yeah. So, if you want to ask us anything, just ask him. We'll figure it out. Okay? So with that said, this is Andrew.
Mrs. Cutter.
Saying peace out for now.
See you later.